key for mind-muscle connection. So when you were, I saw lots of clips when you're training biceps, you're flexing them in between, you're looking at the pose in the mirror. Like, talk about when somebody's training, what should they be thinking about when they're working that muscle, how they should be squeezing, and should they be paying more attention than they probably are?
I think the biggest mistake is that you go to the gym and you go through the motion, but you don't really have your mind inside the muscle. So when you do a bicep curl, I can't just stand there like this. Yeah, you can. I've seen the guys training with me also 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day. But they look like shit. And why did they look like shit? Is because they didn't concentrate. They did the same exercise, but they stood like this and then they looked sideways. Kind of like they were bored. Because they didn't even know why they were training. That they were not inside that bicep. Or inside that lat when you do the rowing and you pull back and you flex the upper back and the center back, and then you let it down and you stretch it and you think about that the wing is coming out now, or like a curtain is opening up. We always thought about the curtain, right? This is when we did our lat spread. So you got to think about those things. When you do calf raises, and I do my donkey calf raises, I got to be inside the calves and to make them split, to make them open up when those guys sit on top of it. First 3 guys, then I have 1 guy jump off, and with 2 guys, then I have another guy jump off, and then there's 1 guy left on my back sitting and doing donkey raises. Some people looked at this and said, this guy's doing some kinky thing. But anyway, there was something else. There was strangers that didn't know what we were doing. But I tell you, you got to be inside the muscle. The same is when you do chest. I mean, when I'm finished with the bench press, immediately I step in front of the mirror and I flex. I hit the shot. I want to see everything, how it works, right? And the same is with the cable crosses. When you do afterwards cable crosses, I want to always see what happens. And therefore, it goes to another subject, which is posing. Posing is so much part of training that you should never do an exercise without hitting a pose right afterwards. If you do a chin up, why not hit the back pose? When you do a chest exercise, why not hit a chest exercise, a chest pose, or a most muscular pose? When you do a bicep exercise, why not hit a bicep pose? I mean, that is always part of it. So posing throughout your training is absolutely essential. So this is why I think to practice this and to pose, to be inside with your mind, inside the muscle, and to go all out, to combine training with posing, I think is absolutely essential.